I get it, there's a ton of glossy screenshots and hype videos for gaming laptops, but when you finally unbox the thing and fire up a game, you're left wondering why it feels so off. You've probably stared at a listing that promises ultra-smooth 165Hz OLED and RTX 5070 power, yet you worry that the real-world experience might be a letdown. That hesitation is why I'm breaking down the Lenovo Legion 5i the way a buyer would, looking past the headline specs, digging into what it actually does on a coffee shop table, a cramped dorm desk, and a weekend marathon session. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Legion 5i is aimed at gamers who want a desktop-class experience without pulling the plug on portability. The 15-inch 2.5K PureSight OLED screen is a big part of that promise. In practice, the OLED panel delivers the kind of punchy contrast and color depth that usually belongs on a high-end monitor. When you fire up a title like Cyberpunk 2077, the blacks are truly black, and the neon-lit cityscapes pop in a way that a standard IPS panel would just wash out. The 165Hz refresh rate is another selling point, and it does hold up. Most modern titles stay comfortably above 100 frames per second when you dial the settings to a mix of high and medium, meaning the display can actually keep up with the GPU without stuttering. The heart of the machine is the Intel Core i7-14700HX, a 14-core beast that's been designed for heavy multi-thread workloads. In a gaming context, you'll notice it most when you're running a game while streaming or having Discord voice chat open. The CPU never seems to hit a bottleneck, loading screens are quick, and the system feels snappy when you swap between a game and a web browser. Pair that with the NVIDIA GeForce RTX5070, which is part of NVIDIA's new Blackwell family. This GPU is not the flagship of the line, but it comfortably handles AAA titles at 1440p with medium-high settings. In real-world testing on titles like Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West, you end up with stable frame rates around 8090 frames per second, which the 165Hz panel can actually display without screen tearing thanks to the built-in adaptive sync. Now, let's talk about the trade-offs that aren't on the spec sheet. The Legion 5i uses Lenovo's Coldfront cooling system, which relies on a dual fan arrangement and a set of heat pipes. In a quiet office environment, the fans spin up to a modest hum when you push the GPU, but they stay relatively discreet. The whisper quiet gaming claim holds up if you're okay with a low-level whine. However, under a long-haul session of a demanding game, the fans will become audible enough that you'll notice them. It's not a distraction, but if you plan to game late at night in a shared space, you might need to crank down the graphics a notch to keep the noise down. Thermal performance is another hidden factor. The laptop stays below 90 degrees on the CPU and GPU during sustained 30-minute gaming runs, which is respectable for a 15-inch chassis. That said, you'll feel the chassis get warm to the touch near the bottom, so using a lap desk or a cooling pad can improve comfort if you're not at a desk. The cooling system also means the laptop is a bit on the heavier side, around 2.6 kilograms, 5.7 pounds. It's portable enough to lug between a bedroom and a living room couch, but don't expect it to be featherlight for daily commuting. Storage and memory are generous, a 1TB NVMe SSD paired with 16GB of DDR5 RAM. The SSD boots Windows in under 10 seconds and loads games quickly, but the real convenience comes from the fact that the SSD is user replaceable. If you ever need more space for a growing game library, you can pop open the bottom panel and swap in a second drive without voiding the warranty. That kind of expandability is something you rarely see on thin gaming laptops. One of the most tangible perks is the 3-month PC GamePass included with the machine. It's not a gimmick, it gives you instant access to a rotating catalog of AAA titles. If you're on the fence about which games to try first, this pass can help you test the hardware's performance across a range of genres without spending extra money on individual purchases. For a buyer who's already planning to dip into GamePass, the inclusion adds clear value. Who should consider buying the Legion 5i? If you're a serious PC gamer who wants high-quality visuals, decent frame rates at 1440p, and you appreciate an OLED display for color-critical work like video editing or graphic design, this laptop hits the sweet spot. It's also a solid choice for streamers who need a capable CPU for encoding and a GPU that can handle both gaming and rendering simultaneously. The fact that you can upgrade the storage yourself means it will stay relevant for a few years, especially with the RTX 5070 still being a respectable GPU for upcoming titles. Who might want to skip it? If you're looking for an ultralight travel laptop, the wait